Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this in the world. I hope you guys are doing okay. So the other day I put up a review of Khaos Reigns on both this channel and my Twitter page, and whilst the YouTube review caught some traction, the Twitter one is really where things popped off. I took this screenshot in the morning, so needless to say it has even more views and more comments on it by now of me doing this recording, but I've screenshotted some of my favourite comments to show you guys because honestly some of them are so ridiculous that I thought it was worth covering and I thought you guys would get a good laugh out of it. I also did say during my live stream, of which there were over 200 people watching at the time, that if anybody wants to jump on a Discord call with me in front of everyone to challenge me on anything that I've said, feel free to jump in. I won't insult you, I'll give you the floor. And obviously nobody did. Now that's not because they're scared to talk to me, it's not because they think I'm going to embarrass them, it's because everybody watching knew that we were watching an absolute shit show. Khaos Reigns was terrible and anybody with common sense could see that. And majority of the comments I've received on YouTube and Twitter have thanked me for saving them the money. They have thanked me for having their time not wasted. Honestly, I'm happy I was able to do that. If I saved you money through streaming this game, then that is my mission accomplished. Now, there are a few things I want to address before I get to these shambolic tweets. Firstly, I gotta hold my hands up with one particular part of my tweet and YouTube video where I made a comment about Scorpion in this timeline being Chinese, so why is the name of his clan the Shirai Ryu? And it made me confused. I was like, why? Well, I didn't play Scorpion's Tower of Time or the classic towers or whatever they're called, and in those classic towers it is apparently stated that Scorpion had fled to Japan where he met Harumi and named the clan after her. So fair enough, and I gotta be honest, I should have been more on point about this because this is the one thing people hung on to that had any sort of criticisms for me despite my many points about Khaos Reigns, and that's a lesson to me. I already knew that refuting my points about the story was going to be nigh impossible because we all saw what was happening. It's not like I was lying, but because I said why does this guy have a Japanese clan when he's Chinese, that's what they decided to hyper focus on, which is an L for me because I should have done my research more efficiently, but it's also an L for them. If that's the one thing you want to take to dismiss everything I'm saying, like we didn't all see the same thing on our screens, then by all means stick by it. I'll make sure to get every single talking point in line, and I don't even mean that sarcastically. That is my mistake. I should understand what people are like, and this is how disingenuous conversations start, and I should know better since I was speaking on Twitter. Secondly, if I am insulting Mortal Kombat or any game, I am not insulting you, the player. I will never understand how people in their adulthood attach themselves to a franchise to the point where if someone says something negative about it, they take it personally. I get it when kids do it. When I was younger and somebody spoke shit about Dragon Ball or One Piece, I got defensive, but that's because I was a kid. I'm assuming on Twitter I'm talking to adults. I would hope so anyway. And I'd completely get it if it was Ed Boon tweeting back at me because that's his baby that I'm critiquing, but you're just a consumer of the product, a fan. You're not even a fan of a living, breathing person, and even those people are weird as hell. You're a fan of a fictional world with fictional characters and you're taking what I'm saying personally. To those people I have to say, grow a backbone. I am not attacking you for liking the game. If you like Mortal Kombat 1, go nuts, but this is the internet, and if people want to express how they feel about something, then we are all well within our rights, especially if you've played it. And in case you haven't noticed, no amount of telling me to shut up about it is going to work. You can continuously comment that because that's your right. It's your right to even say these things to me, but all you're doing is feeding the algorithm and blowing up my comment section. So if you want to go ahead and do that, go ahead and do that. You are just helping me, like I said, but if I'm being completely honest, if you hate what I have to say, you should take your own advice, shut up and jog on. Either way, I'm going to say what I want to say. And thirdly, for those of you saying, Mike, you purchased Khaos Reigns, so you're part of the problem. No. You missed the part where I said in the live stream I did not purchase this game. Someone was gracious enough to gift it to me. So no, I am not part of the problem, and there ain't no chance in hell I'd spend my hard-earned money on this schlop. As a matter of fact, I'm part of the solution because many people, as I said, we watched your live stream, we saw your Twitter post, we are not buying this game. So mission accomplished. Lastly, this whole it's WB's fault, not NRS needs to stop. You guys will really go to any lengths to protect these guys, won't you? Are they paying your water rates or something? WB might have rushed the game out. I'm willing to concede that. WB might not have given them the funding that they needed to make exactly what they wanted, and that's why we're getting the Warrior Shrine now. That's why we're getting certain modes now. That's why the game was a babbling mess for a year. But NRS designs the characters. NRS does the balancing. When they roll out a patch to fix a glitch, they should not be creating further glitches. For a whole year, They ignored the player base and their wants and their needs. The game continuously was unbalanced, continuously glitchy, and when they attempted to fix it, nothing happens. They also weren't responsive on Twitter at all. Nobody had any communication channels with them. Now you could say WB is silencing them. You could say all of these things. If you are in the camp where you think none of this is NRS's fault, then I can't help you and there's no point having a discussion about it. If you think it's 100% WB, then you go ahead and think that. But the game's design, aesthetic and direction was done by NRS, and I think that we should hold their feet to the fire. But if you don't agree with me, that's up to you. Now then, with all that out of the way, let's get to these tweets. The first one comes from an individual called It's Victor, and he says the character being played winning is literally on every story fighting game. Like, no one can really beat Bison but maybe Ryu. Same with Ogre/Gil. What a weird complaint. This man has not played many fighting games, if any at all, because that is not the case. If you want to talk about Gil, for example, if you want to talk about one of the old fighting games, yes, you can defeat the boss, but we all know those endings are not canon, and it's not until the next game where we find out who actually beat the boss. But if we don't even look at the old games, let's look at them in more modern times. What usually happens when there's a coherent story to tell is you'll play as the hero in a fight so that the devs give you gameplay time instead of you just watching a movie, and you'll either deplete the opponent's health bar or it will go down to a certain point where a cutscene kicks in. Either way, a cutscene will kick in that will drive the canon storytelling forward, in which the stronger character will win. If we use Tekken 8 as an example, when you beat Kazuya down in the gameplay, it cuts back to a CG cutscene and we see Kazuya overwhelming Jin before it cuts away. Do you want to know what would have happened if Jin actually floored Kazuya completely in the opening of that game? Kazuya's mystique and his value as the big bad guy that just toppled Heihachi Mishima would be gone and we'd be taken out of the story. What made Jin and Kazuya's clash at the end of Tekken 8 so much fun to watch is Kazuya had not lost a fight in the story. Everyone that tried to topple him had lost, and it was up to Jin to basically defeat him. If we look at Mortal Kombat 1, Sub-Zero had lost 5 minutes into the story to someone lower ranking than him in his own clan. How am I supposed to take him seriously when 3 of his opening interactions in the game are to take L's? Not to mention his first fight as Noob Saibot was a massive L. The man was on the floor knocked out. If they're obsessed with character chapters in MK, what they could do is have you win the fight in the gameplay, or even get the opponent's health down to a certain point that would trigger a cutscene where the lore takes over and the stronger character wins, so we have some coherence. A way to fix Noob Saibot's introduction would be to have Tanya fight him. When he gets to half health, it triggers a cutscene where he overpowers her and she has to tag Sector and Cyrax in. This would add to the idea that Noob Saibot is much more powerful than Sub-Zero. Have them fight him and have the same thing happen till Scorpion is also tagged in. At this point, because he has been jumped by several formidable opponents, including his own brother, it would make sense to beat him and knock him out. It would still protect his character because none of them were able to beat him in a one-on-one. It would also not create an issue where he's too powerful to beat later on in the story, because you don't want to create that issue as well. You protect the character and the integrity of the story whilst making everyone else look competent. Instead, no. Tanya knocks this man's powered up ass out so badly that they dragged him through 2 timelines without waking him up. Please, let's not do this, okay? This is ridiculous. I thought of that on the spot. If you gave me 5 minutes in the writer's room with NRS, I'd do a much better job than them. I'm willing to bet most people watching this video would do a much better job than them. And I'm not even saying that to puff my chest out or anything like that. It's just I'm using my brain, which is something they have proven incapable of doing. You play Mortal Kombat for the story mode? Real players know it's a sideshow made for unlocking shit and playing competitive gaming. You must have been born in the 2000s. As far as I can remember, MK was the one that really introduced long-term storytelling in fighting games. It was always there, but nothing was doing what MK was doing, even as far back as the digital ones. Mortal Kombat on the arcades had something called the Attract mode, which would have detailed character panels letting us know who the characters were and the journey they were on. So needless to say, people became invested in Mortal Kombat's story. Even going into the 3D era, they kept the tradition up of investing in the backstories of these characters and the general lore. So yes, there is a subsection of the community that are heavily invested in Mortal Kombat's world building. You might not know that, I don't know. Maybe you play Fortnite and this is your first MK game, but story has always mattered in Mortal Kombat. Midway are the ones that set the precedent, and NRS continued it. Regardless of all of that, they spent time and resources to craft this story mode for people to play, because MK became the standard bearer for story modes in fighting games, and that is evidenced by the marketing behind Chaos Reigns. They really pushed the story, so maybe pay attention next time instead of saying dumb shit like this. Just responding to the how the hell did Cyrax beat hecking Grandmasterinos, they became Grandmasters through nepotism. In case you forgot, Grandmaster as title isn't some Dragon Ball arse power level indicator. Liu Kang chose Scorpion and Sub-Zero to teach Raiden and Kung Lao a lesson in humility, and even told them that Scorpion and Sub-Zero were holding back in their first encounter. They are referred to as Earth's finest and a force dedicated to protecting Earthrealm. Sub-Zero, Scorpion and Smoke, although RIP Smoke, I don't know what they were thinking of that character in the story mode, they are the strongest people in their clan, or at least we thought so. Sub-Zero is the clan's grandmaster. He is the figurehead, the patriarch, the leader, and a leader through sheer strength. We get glimpses of Sub-Zero's power when he decides to use it, but most of the time they have him making dumb decisions and then getting his ass whooped. Cyrax coming out of nowhere and defeating him is not because of nepotism or any other weird idea you might have to justify the bullshit chapter system in this game. It is bad and lazy writing. Cyrax not only beat Sub-Zero moments before she had bested Scorpion, the two poster children of the franchise and two of Earthrealm's strongest warriors, mere minutes apart. Yeah, I don't even need to explain why this is stupid beyond this point. It's not some Dragon Ball arse power level indicator, because for as much arse pull as Dragon Ball had in it, I have never seen anything like that before. Grandmaster, God, Elder God, Titan, none of it matters in Mortal Kombat because the chapter system requires you to win regardless of whether you're capable of spawning million versions of yourself or crafting reality itself. If you're on the receiving end of a hero's chapter, your value as a warrior diminishes. It is gone. You're going to lose that fight. It doesn't matter if you've absorbed the Kamidogus, the Dragon Balls, if you've unlocked Bankai, or you got the most hacky on the planet. If it's Tanya's turn in the story mode, you're going to lose. As long as you're playing as the character, that character will win in the lore regardless of the opponent's strength. Been like this for over a decade, my boy. Everyone knows all characters' job to whoever's name is on the story. Well, you're taking out of context there a little bit. I've already explained the Kazuya and Jin thing. I'm not going to go over that again, but it has been like that for a decade in Mortal Kombat. So how does that really diminish my point? If anything, that makes things even worse. A decade in and they still can't see the error of their ways. They'll do it again. I bet you any money they will do it again. This is not the end of the chapter system because they're lazy and they're riding the wave of positive feedback they received with Mortal Kombat 9. This tweet is written like players should just accept shit storytelling because, well, the writers can't innovate beyond a primitive level, so it is what it is. Like, I can't accept that as somebody that has been playing Mortal Kombat and has been invested in the story mode. Of the infinite ideas out there, all NRS could muster was, this is the hero, this is the person you're playing as, there's no nuance, they're gonna win that fight. It's ridiculous. It's a fighting game story, not that deep. We aren't talking about The Last of Us or Red Dead Redemption 2 here, bro. Down to go burr. I don't know what that down to go burr things mean, but this guy also says that's like being mad at COD's campaign, no one plays it for the story. Yes, it's a fighting game story, so we should again just accept rubbish. No, it is a story and that's it. And MK markets itself as being somewhat serious in the storytelling. I'm going to try and explain something here about storytelling and context that seems to be going over a lot of people's heads. You don't have to agree with me, but this is how I see it. Now I'm going to use Demon Slayer and I'm going to use Attack on Titan to demonstrate my point, and you don't have to have watched these shows to understand what I'm about to say. Demon Slayer is about a young man called Tanjiro. It follows him through his journey to cleanse the world of demons and keep his young sister safe, who is also a demon. It abides by standard shonen tropes. Overcome hardship, inspire others, believe in yourself, friendship, and doing the right thing. Tanjiro goes from season to season battling demons to eventually get to the final boss. It's almost set up like a video game. The story is basic and very easy to follow. It has a story in it, there is coherence there, and it is interesting, but it doesn't do anything innovative. Then you have Attack on Titan, which is a story that is handling several heavy themes like racism, fascism, genocide, and political turmoil. The show goes to great lengths to show us the complexities of the human psyche and blurs the lines between good and evil, right and wrong. I don't need to tell you this, but Attack on Titan takes itself very seriously and it wants the viewers to take it very seriously. Attack on Titan wants you to sit with your friends after an episode has aired and discuss the events of the episode, and in my experience that usually turns into a debate, which really lends to the good storytelling of Attack on Titan. Do you think that happens in Demon Slayer? Of course not. That's no shade on Demon Slayer, I think it's awesome, but it's not trying to provoke a conversation, it's not trying to take itself seriously. If Attack on Titan failed to juggle all of these heavy themes and made a mess of them, I'd probably prefer Demon Slayer's story. Yes, it was more basic, but they accomplished what they set out to do. I had an expectation and they met it. With that in mind, I could say the story is better and I preferred it. Obviously that's not the case with Attack on Titan, we know it's absolutely awesome, but this is why people get so confused when there are those out there that prefer Street Fighter story and Tekken story to Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat goes to great lengths to craft a mode with strong voice acting and world-altering events because it wants to be taken seriously. It's been like that for a very long time. I'd say really in the 3D era they started to crank it up. Whereas Tekken and Street Fighter for a very long time, especially in Street Fighter's case, barely try. Now in more recent times, Tekken has definitely stepped it up and I enjoyed Tekken 8's story a hell of a lot more than I did MK1. Tekken did not job out its main villain or any of the characters that were stronger in the lore. It followed a consistent path, it retained its goofy and wacky elements, and it had a satisfying and explosive ending. Does Tekken have these set pieces that Mortal Kombat has? No. Does Tekken have the serious tone that Mortal Kombat has, or at least once had, because this expansion was a joke? No. Tekken has always been very goofy. I have that expectation when I go in to play it. You don't have to like it, you don't have to agree with me, but they're two different things. MK has always presented itself as almost like a movie. Tekken to me always comes across as a silly shonen anime, a battle anime. MK can't go in a straight line. Sometimes person X is stronger than person Y, sometimes person X would stand around doing nothing and then suddenly whoop everyone's ass. If Mortal Kombat was being presented in a goofy manner, then I'd take it for what it is and enjoy it as such, but it's not. It's presenting itself as a serious story and it's a joke. It's incoherent, as I said, it doesn't know who's stronger and who's weaker. It shits on what is established to force in the new. It is inconsistent and it is contrived. And to the other tweet again, it's in the game, therefore it's open for critique. The majority of people may not play it for the story, but it was marketed with the story in mind. Therefore, people were going to play it, therefore people were going to have an opinion on it. Honestly, I'm starting to wonder how old the people are that play Mortal Kombat. Like, isn't this an 18+ game? Scaling in Mortal Kombat never made sense. Please don't start acting like it did. Yeah, I like how in my tweet I made out like the poor power scaling just started now. Honestly, you know what this has told me? Mortal Kombat fans are so used to accepting garbage across the board that it's gotten to the point of complete submission, complete acceptance. It's always been this way, so shut up basically. That's basically what they're saying. Yeah, I know it's always been this way, and if it continues to be this way, I'm going to continue to shit on it. It's like they've been in an abusive relationship for so long that this trash is now the norm to them. Now, I've likely been playing Mortal Kombat a lot longer than the people leaving messages on this tweet, so you don't need to tell me the power scaling's always been messed up. But we gotta call a spade, right? It is what it is. This all really started to go downhill in Mortal Kombat 10 when Cassie Cage beat Shinnok, a fucking elder god. A fallen elder god, but an elder god all the same. Then they tried to give us this arsepool explanation that she's from a type of people that bred warriors for the gods. Out of the blue, conveniently, and let me make it clear. If Johnny Cage had beaten Shinnok, it would have been as dumb, but at least we had an established build-up with him. I wouldn't have liked it, but it would have been a hell of a lot better than his unlikable daughter coming in and beating Shinnok. Shinnok, of all characters, like, leave it out, bro, really, that is just a bunch of hogwash. Imagine ranting over a video game. This guy's never been on the internet. Movie buffs, music critiques, games journalists, YouTubers, all of you hush your gums. Talking about fictional media, we can't do that. What do you think gamers do on their channels when they don't like something? What do you think a gamer is, you know? It's like when people watch Formula 1 and they have a Formula 1 YouTube channel and then they rant about it. People rant about all sorts of things. Like, honestly, some of the people on Twitter, like, it I don't get offended, but I always get flabbergasted at some of the things people say. I'm just having fun and happy Havoc got the spotlight I waited 17 years for him to have. It's actually not that serious. And if you're happy, then go nuts. Who's being serious here? I'm just talking about the game. If you think that I'm treating this like a serious issue, as if it's going to shift the landscape of fighting games forever, that's a you problem. Maybe you see and read everything in a serious tone. I just criticize the game. It seems like people are getting very bent out of shape because I'm talking about Mortal Kombat again. This review is dog shit. So I said to him, how so? Would love to hear some counterpoints. So with this clown, I genuinely wanted to know what I said that was a lot of shit other than the Harumi thing that I previously mentioned. I wanted to get some actual counterpoints rather than people getting in their feelings. So I was like, do you know what? He said dog shit and put the laughing out loud thing. It's whatever. Let me hear what he has to say. Get a load of this. You're suffering from anime brain rot. DBZ and power levels have melted your brain into soup. Even now when you turn your head, I can hear the sloshing sounds of what remains in your head. I mean, what do you even say to that? I'm honestly starting to question the age range of people playing Mortal Kombat these days. I'm starting to believe the Fortnite kids have taken over. I don't understand why they don't understand power dynamics. Only an MK fan will see a god of time with the ability to control time and manipulate people to do as he pleases because he can control time, getting jumped by Mad Max rejects, any old grunts, and sitting there looking at it and going, makes complete sense. It is not my brain that has turned to soup, young man. It is yours. Y'all complain about everything. The fans are gonna kill this franchise before NetherRealm does. Nah, I think NetherRealm has got us beat, to be honest with you. People complain because they're killing the franchise. You've got it the wrong way around. What a loser Tekken fanboy. Yeah, the age range on this game has dropped significantly. I don't even understand this when I've literally been on here roasting Tekken for things it's done wrong. But you know, I guess when you have nothing of intelligence to say, you'll say some shit like this. Long story short, for anyone that doesn't want to read it, he's mainly mad because women can beat men. That's pretty much it. This guy was my favorite out of everyone that tweeted. He tried to make out like I had an issue with women, which he got called out for on the post by other people and eventually stopped replying. But let's talk about that for a second. I'll keep it 1,000 with you guys. There has been a disproportionate shift in power dynamics in Mortal Kombat, and I'd say the women outclassed the men quite heavily in the series. First, Sindel received a Super Saiyan power up in Mortal Kombat 9 and literally kills half the roster without breaking a sweat. Cassie Cage defeats an Elder God. Kitana beats the piss out of Shao Kahn. Devourer kills Hanzo Hasashi, not Kuai Lang Scorpion, Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion, the Scorpion that we had grown up with, the one that everybody was scared of, the one that people feared throughout the realms, was killed by Devourer. Devourer, the bug lady. How did she kill him? She snuck up on him and stabbed him. On a ninja. Does this make any sense to you guys? Like, what planet are we on here? Scorpion, again, not Kuai Lang Scorpion, Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion, the real deal, killed by Devourer. And now Cyrax defeats two Grandmasters within mere minutes of each other. Yeah, you can call me sexist if you want, but coupling that with the gender bending of multiple characters, not just Sector and Cyrax, but Orange, strangely enough, a fucking dragon. It's just weird. Also coupled with the fact that they've never done it the other way around, it is a little bit hard to defend them. So yeah, there's something to be said about it. And yeah, I didn't like seeing Scorpion Sub-Zero / Noob Saibot get rocked by the girls in this story. Not when Cyrax did it and not when Tanya did it. It was lame. Those are two killer characters. Sub-Zero and Scorpion are iconic. Like, what the fuck are we doing with them? That being said, if they were canonically stronger, then it wouldn't be a problem. Like if Kronika beat the piss out of Sub-Zero and Scorpion, I ain't gonna say anything. It's Kronika. But they're just pulling shit out of their asses and winning fights because reasons. So I replied back to him saying, not the smartest thing to say since people can read and will come to find you're lying for brownie points. I don't know who you wrote this for, but she ain't gonna sleep with you, bro. He replied back saying, Cyrax beat Sub-Zero, Cyrax beat Scorpion, Tanya beat Noob. Proof is in the pudding, little guy, and that's adorable because I'm gay. Nice try though. I don't know if he's gay. Quite honestly, don't give a shit. But nothing I said there was wrong. Two of those characters, as I said, are Grandmasters, you dumbass. Do you know what a Grandmaster of a clan is? One of them is a powered up version of his previous self as well. Honestly, what a donut. But to go one step further, remember when they introduced Kronika and everyone was like, so this chick can bend time and reality and she can basically control everything. She's gonna lose in this story mode? Is that what we're doing here? But I guess because Kronika is a woman, it doesn't really fit your narrative since I did mention her in the tweet. It's not because they're women. Did you forget that people felt the same way about Kronika, or is this your first time playing Mortal Kombat? She was the Titan, and yet somehow she came undone. I mentioned Nightwolf beating Geras, but I guess that doesn't fit the BS you came up with. Scorpion is a famed warrior and head of a clan. A subordinate level character beating him makes no sense. Same goes for Sub-Zero. They could be male or female. We also said the same thing about Jax and Jackie beating Noob Saibot in the previous timeline. It's always been about the inconsistent storytelling. Remember when Sindel toppled Cetrion, a literal elder god? Try again, sunshine. To which this clown responds, so we were supposed to lose to Kronika? Just because? What would be the point of the story then? To lose? Nightwolf is extremely powerful, he bested Geras temporarily with assistance, and the lore states in MK11 that Elder Gods feared Sindel, so that checks. This idiot has no idea what writing yourself into a corner is and then having to come up with dumb reasons to get yourself out of it. You don't make someone so powerful and everyone else so weak and then all of a sudden have them beat said character. Kronika's abilities and and scope was so out of reach, and anybody could see that. They wrote an all-powerful being and then she died. I also point out to him that Geras lost to Nightwolf, which was dumb since Geras can just stop you in your tracks and smack the shit out of you, but in MK11, Geras got massacred by Nightwolf. Yes, Nightwolf had help from Old Man Shang and Fujin, but Geras was presented to be levels above all of them combined, and then he lost. Do you honestly think just because a story tells you something that it can't be exempt from criticism, or potentially just poor writing? Oh, I see, because NRS said so, you don't have the capacity to think for yourself. I got it. It makes complete sense, especially judging by your dumbass responses. Do you understand why there are media critics? This guy is the kind of person that will accept anything a story tells him. I think your opinion is highly dishonest. Lots of word and mental gymnastics to throw shit on the game because that's what the internet trend wants. Of course, when I asked, he doesn't tell me where I lied or was dishonest or used mental gymnastics. Just say things for the sake of saying them. Yes, of course, lean on the fact that it's an entire internet trend to hate on MK1, not on the fact that it's normal to see MK1 and hate on it because it sucks. It has to be a trend. They always have to come up with some stupid justification. Bihan clearing Titan Havoc while Liu Kang struggled is a huge W for the series. It wasn't the main character this time, but actually one of the ninjas. I won't argue they did him wrong in other aspects, but that is a crazy feat. No bro. That feat makes no sense. The feat would have been cool if it was coherent and it followed a line. Liu is a god and Noob lost to Tanya. That's not a feat. That is inconsistency at its finest. That's like watching an 11-year-old boy lose a fight to a 15-year-old boy, and then in the next hour, that 11-year-old boy goes and beats up Conor McGregor. It makes no sense. Unless we're going with the idea that Tanya may also be able to overcome Titan Havoc, which in MK's case would actually make sense now since she knocked Noob's sidebot completely out and the guy didn't even wake up until they got back home. I agree, but I think it's implied that Noob having Chaos magic is what prevented Havoc from healing. I don't know though. It's not implied. At what point? Where? How would that make sense? There was an easy way to fix this though. Have Noob's sidebot have a magical ability that disrupts the flow of chaos in Titan Havoc, almost acting like a poison to stop him from regenerating. If they had explained that to us, then it would have been fine, but no, we're left to guess because he has new powers, so maybe that's the reason why. There was no explanation at all, no implication, absolutely nothing. That is poor storytelling. Sorry for this correction, but Havoc can survive damage only if it is dealt by himself. That is his power. That is not one of his abilities, and I challenge anyone to source me that information because I sure as hell can't find it, and if you can find it, I will hold my hands up. I'll read to you Havoc's powers and abilities, and in nowhere in this does it say it. Being a cleric of chaos, Havoc possesses a fighting style showcasing a bizarre assortment of techniques that can both throw off and devastate the opponent's mind and body. His body is so warped that he experiences joy and pleasure instead of pain and suffering. He is able to rejuvenate himself by dislocating his own limbs or even recover from what should be life-ending injuries, such as a broken neck and crushed skull. Because of his unpredictable ways, what may seem as a battle of death is nothing more than either a lesson or a friendly conversation. Beyond this is a fighting style revolving around savagery and mayhem. As revealed in the alternate timeline, Havoc has some skill in sorcery, as he was able to corrupt the blood magic with the Kamidogu, allowing him to corrupt and possess anyone who is cut with one of the daggers, even gods. There seems to be no limit to how many victims Havoc can control at one time or even distances, as he is able to control others while in an entirely different realm. Havoc also possesses a healing factor, which is what allows him to survive his deadly contortions, such as his neck snapping, and even reattach severed limbs with little hassle. When this ability was enhanced by blood magic, he could survive being beaten to death by Scorpion's hellfire coated punches. In Mortal Kombat 1, Havoc's healing factor is granted to him by Quan Chi's dark magic and appears nigh absolute, and as a result his fighting style is far more macabre in comparison. He can twist and tear his torso apart, use his internal organs as weapons, and even tear off his own head and immediately grow a new one. Let's not make things up for NRS's sake. They're just lazy. Let's just call a spade a spade. Can we just forget power scaling exists forever? Power scales do not exist and will never exist. The characters that wins is the character that the writers picked to win, and that's okay, otherwise the story would be boring. People are using this line that I believe Stan Lee uttered without understanding why Stan Lee said this. In Marvel Comics, multiple writers craft stories for characters at the same time because, like Mortal Kombat, Marvel has a multiverse. The difference is Mortal Kombat has the same writers and the same team with the same established lore. They may have branching timelines, but it's not 10 different guys telling 10 stories against 10 timelines like they do with, say, Spider-Man. That is why Stan Lee said that, and it makes sense. If I write a Spider-Man story and then you write a Spider-Man story, we are two completely different people like likely not working in the same office as each other, telling our own rendition of Spider-Man. With MK, it doesn't apply because this isn't happening. Yeah, the writers can in theory choose whoever they want to win at the time, but that can hurt the integrity of the story. We'd all look sideways if Mary Jane had a chapter in a Doctor Doom game and she beat Doctor Doom. We'd all look sideways if Xiao Yu was able to beat up Heihachi canonically, and we'd all look sideways if Akuma lost to Kimberly. Power dynamics exist in all of these things, and to suggest that we should just ignore them in Mortal Kombat because the writers are too lazy to be consistent is a joke, and it is a very bad joke. You see, I had fun because I like having fun. I'm not boring and miserable like you. Yeah, well listen, if you go to a 5-star restaurant and the chef takes a shit on your plate and then shoves it down your throat and you enjoy that and you have fun, then more power to you. But I have standards. Are you telling me that in all the animes you might watch, all the movies you might watch, all the pieces of music you listen to, all the games that you sit and play, all of them are fun to you? You never go once and say, this kind of sucks. I mean, if you can find joy in absolutely everything, then that's absolutely great. I think you're a liar, but you know, there's loads of people on this planet, I could be wrong. Strange that you're using Twitter to vent your frustration and your review, rather than the place you bought it like the Xbox store or Steam store that actually has a review area for this type of feedback, rather than crying on Twitter about it, but call it whatever you want. And this is going to be the final tweet of the day because it might be the most dumb one. Of course, it's so strange to be using the modern day town square that was literally created to share thoughts and ideas and have conversation. How weird is it that I use the platform to do just that? Honestly, I'm so certain that the player base of Mortal Kombat is below 18 because there's no way that these are adults. Why the hell would I leave a Steam review when I want this to be seen by the general gaming space? I mean, what the hell kind of thinking is that? Judging by the reach of this tweet and the fact that my phone is still buzzing as I'm recording this and it's approaching 170,000 views, I'd say it's safe to assume that NRS saw my tweet, which is exactly what I wanted. I know they're on Twitter. I know they're looking at the discourse. This tweet has been retweeted multiple times and has a lot of views on it. I'm willing to bet somebody in their studio has seen it. Now, even if they didn't see it, many people did, and despite me pulling these shambolic tweets, 90% of people shared my sentiment and retweeted it. You guys can see right here, there are a few people that obviously disagreed, but the overwhelming majority of people think that Chaos Reigns sucks. So not only did I save hundreds of people in my stream the other day money, but I seem to have saved multiple others judging by the retweets and comments I got. So if you find it weird that I posted on a platform that promotes discussion, well, I hope that cleared it up for you. You can call it crying all you want. I call it helping out the player base and keeping an extra $50 or £50 in their pockets. Lord knows people need it these days. And again, I'm never going to understand the people that feel personally attacked because I'm critiquing Mortal Kombat. You know, there's a YouTuber on here that I've spoken to a couple of times and his name is Frame Whisperer. And I like Frame Whisperer's content. Whenever he uploads, I tune in. If he's doing a live stream, I'll have him on in the background. I like what Frame Whisperer does. Now, Frame Whisperer cusses the hell out of Tekken. I think he's actually quit the game. Do you think I take personal offense because Frame Whisperer doesn't like Tekken? I don't care what people like and what they don't like. They're more than entitled to their opinion. I would not tie Tekken to my identity, and I don't get upset when people say things about it. Same goes for Dragon Ball, same goes for One Piece. They are fictional pieces of media. They are not real people. I'm not attacking you. When Frame Whisperer is saying things about Tekken, and some of them are true, especially when it comes to the monetization stuff, and some of it is just purely opinion based, I don't feel attacked. I don't feel like I need to go, hey, stop talking about Tekken, go do something else with your time. Do you know how fucking weird it is for me to see grown adults taking offense because I'm critiquing a game? And to those of you that are like Mike, you've played Chaos Reigns, you stopped playing it for a year, you're done with it now. I am done talking about Mortal Kombat when I feel like I'm done talking about it. Let me give you some advice, and I'm not talking to my community now because they all know me. I'm talking to people that come into the videos and want to leave those comments. You're allowed to leave those comments and I'm not going to delete them, but you are wasting your time. If you are tired of hearing me rip into Mortal Kombat, YouTube is a very big platform. There are plenty of places that you can go where you won't hear my voice, but I can guarantee you everything in my bank account, if I wake up in the morning I feel like talking about Mortal Kombat, there could be 1,000 comments on this video, there could be 1,000,000. My Twitter could get absolutely rushed down. If I decide that I want to talk about Mortal Kombat, that is exactly what I'm going to do. So save yourself some time, save yourself some energy, or leave some comments and feed the algorithm. Either way, I'm still gonna do it, and I'm still gonna get what I want. And what I want out of this is to spread my message and my disdain for where Mortal Kombat has gone. As a long-time Mortal Kombat fan, having played every installment in the franchise down to the obscure spin-off ones like Sub-Zero Mythologies, I think I'm well within my right to sit here and critique the last two games they have released, which is MK11 and MK1. They are a far cry from the quality that we received before, so get used to it. Now, last time I played the Mortal Kombat story mode, I did a whole critique about the closing chapters and came up with ways it could be done better. So I'm not just sitting here bitching about the game. I already have ideas on how I can make this better, so I'm going to be repeating that video, but I'm going to be doing it for Khaos Reigns. So stay tuned for that, guys. Anyways, that's going to be all for today. That's about all the shambolic tweets that I can deal with in one day. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. I think these guys are all dribbling all over their phones. And like I said, if you ever want to jump on a live stream and challenge any of my views in front of people, because I know people have a lot to say behind the keyboard, but they can't talk when they're confronted with somebody, you are more than welcome. I'm not going to insult you in front of people. I'll have a conversation with you. If you think I'm lying about Khaos Reigns, I'll be streaming on Sunday. I will invite you into my Discord and I'll put you on the live stream. Other than that, guys, I'll see you in the comment section and on the next video. Take care and peace.